Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the News. If your week felt like it got launched out of a cannon and landed in a gas station parking lot, you are not alone. We have entered that special season where geopolitics, grocery bills, and government dysfunction all decide to synchronize like a bar band that only knows 3 chords and chaos. So buckle up, sip whatever you sip, and let's get into it. Segment 1. Operation Epic Fury and the Strait that pays the bills. Well, folks, nothing says good morning like waking up to find out we turned the Middle East into a live-action fireworks show and now your gas pump's charging rent. Operation Epic Fury didn't just rattle a saber, it snapped it in half and used it as a toothpick. We took out Iran's top leadership, and now the Strait of Hormuz is basically closed like the Waffle House during a hurricane. And if Waffle House is closed, you know the world's in trouble. Oil jumped faster than a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Brent's up, WTI's up, and my local gas station changed its numbers so fast I thought they were auctioning fuel by the minute. The media keeps saying market volatility, like that's some polite dinner guest. No, that's chaos in a necktie. Now here's the part they don't yell about on cable panels. 20% of the world's oil flows through that strait. That's not a side road, that's the main artery. You squeeze it, everything downstream starts gasping. Truckers feel it. Farmers feel it. Airlines feel it. And you feel it when your grocery bill starts acting like it joined a CrossFit gym. I'm not saying we shouldn't defend ourselves. I'm saying when you kick over an anthill with steel-toed boots, don't act surprised when ants show up at Thanksgiving. Congress is waving war powers around like they just rediscovered the Constitution in a junk drawer, and the White House says it was all about imminent threats. Meanwhile, the average American's imminent threat is the unleaded button blinking like it needs therapy. Segment 2. War powers, shutdowns, and government by Hold My Beer. So while missiles are flying overseas, back home we've got a government shutdown at the Department of Homeland Security, because apparently we can coordinate a 1,000-mile bombing run, but not a budget agreement. DHS is half lit like a porch light with a bad wire, and this is the department that handles FEMA, TSA, Coast Guard, cybersecurity. You know, small stuff. Congress says the president didn't get proper authorization. The president says he didn't need it. It's like 2 uncles arguing over who gets to drive the truck while the truck's already rolling downhill, and the rest of us are in the bed holding lawn chairs. Now the redneck part of me understands stubborn. I once refused to ask for directions for 3 hours and ended up in Kentucky when I was aiming for Ohio. But at some point you admit you're lost. The shutdown's not some abstract DC drama. It means paychecks delayed, staffing thin, emergency response stretched. That's real. Media coverage treats it like a scoreboard. Who's winning? Who's blinking? But this ain't fantasy football, when you've got border policy fights, funding lapses, and active conflict abroad all stacking up at once. That's not strategy. That's juggling chainsaws while someone keeps adding more chainsaws. Underneath the yelling is a simple truth. A government running on temporary patches during global instability is not a sign of strength. It's duct tape on a submarine. Segment 3. Markets on a tilt-a-whirl. Wall Street had itself a little panic attack. The S&P slid, the Dow dropped hundreds of points, and the NASDAQ looked like it tripped over its own shoelaces. And every time that happens, some analyst pops up saying, investors are recalibrating. No, sir. They're sprinting for the exits in loafers. Energy spikes mean inflation whispers start turning into inflation yells. The Federal Reserve was hoping to maybe relax someday. Now it's back to staring at oil charts like they're horror movies. You get sustained high fuel costs, and suddenly that soft landing turns into a bumpy cornfield. But here's where it gets funny. Defense stocks? Up. Tanker companies? Buying shares like they know something. It's capitalism's version of musical chairs. When the music gets dramatic, somebody always finds a way to sell chairs. And while tech companies are laying off thousands and blaming artificial intelligence like it's Skynet running HR, most of those cuts are pandemic overhiring coming home to roost. AI gets used as the corporate boogeyman. Sorry we fired you, it was the robots. Meanwhile, the robots are still trying to figure out how to order lunch. Ground-level reality, higher fuel, tighter credit, jittery markets. That trickles down. Small businesses feel it. Families budgeting feel it. It's not abstract lines on CNBC, it's whether you postpone a road trip or rethink that new tractor. Segment 4. AI, Ethics, and the Pentagon's Wish List. Now let's talk about the tech standoff that feels like a sci-fi script. The Pentagon wanted fewer guardrails on artificial intelligence tools. The AI company said no. The administration responded by banning the company's tech from federal use. That escalated quicker than a group text gone wrong. This isn't just nerd drama. This is about whether AI gets used for mass surveillance or lethal systems without human oversight. And before anybody says, that's exaggerated, go look at what modern militaries are experimenting with. We are one firmware update away from a Tom Clancy novel. The administration calls it accelerating innovation. The company calls it ethics. The market calls it uncertainty. And uncertainty is the one thing investors hate more than bad earnings. Here's my redneck analogy. You don't take the governor off a four-wheeler and then act shocked when it flips. Guardrails exist for a reason. You can want dominance and still want brakes. Under the humor is a serious question. How do you balance national security with civil liberties when the tools are smarter than last year's law books? Because once you cross certain lines, you don't just uncross them. You normalize them. Segment 5. Measles, Moonlight, and the reality check. While all that's happening, we've got a measles outbreak ticking past 1,000 cases nationwide. That's a disease we basically had handled. Public health leadership keeps changing like musical chairs, and the CDC's running leaner than it's been in decades. One minute we're arguing about global war strategy. The next, we're relearning why vaccines exist. It's like arguing about which brand of firework is best, while the smoke detector's chirping in the kitchen. To his credit, the current health leadership pushed vaccination hard. That's grounded, practical, old-school science. But when agencies lose staff and continuity, response gets harder. Public trust gets thinner. And then, because the universe loves irony, we get a total lunar eclipse. A big red moon hanging over all of this, like the sky's got mood lighting. People calling it a blood moon, while markets bleed and oil burns. You can't write symbolism that on the nose. But here's the grounded part. Storm systems are ramping up across the plains. Drought in some parts of the world. Flooding in others. Real families dealing with real weather while geopolitics plays out above their heads. That's the stuff that doesn't trend on social media but hits hardest. In conclusion, the past few days haven't just been headlines. They've been dominoes. Military escalation, economic ripple effects, political standoffs, tech ethics fights, public health strain. It's all connected whether we like it or not. You can laugh at the absurdity, and we should. But underneath the jokes is a simple reminder. Stability is fragile, and when you shake the table, everything on it moves.